So why should you be physical? Okay, you hear all this theory like, you just gotta yank that bitch, you gotta grab her, you gotta demonstrate your masculinity, you gotta show her who's boss. This is what makes her want to fuck you. If you're not physical, that is bad, okay? Be physical, be physical, be physical. Now, when I ask this to someone, like, why should you be physical? The typical responses that I get are something along the lines of, to be man to woman. I'm gonna be physical to establish, that I'm a guy and she's about to get fucked, like becoming that sexual threat, if you will. Another answer could be, to establish physical connection. Another example is like, because girls like it. It's kind of like leading to sex, slowly escalating the interaction. To which I respond, wrong. Okay, basically, what all these answers have in common, like with each of them, you're trying to accomplish something. It's like I'm trying to accomplish man to women. I'm trying to accomplish physical compatibility. I'm trying to do something. It's like you're going up to the girl, you're talking, you're like, okay, I have to be physical now to do this. Deploy physical move. Does she like me now? Did this accomplish man to woman? And this is the worst frame to be coming from when you're being physical. Okay, basically, the answer to this question, why should you be physical, is because you want to. Okay, that is it. Physicality is just a form of expression. Just being clear in your intentions. Thoughts, words, actions aligned. You see a hot girl, why wouldn't you want to touch her? Okay, it shouldn't be to accomplish something with that little outcome in mind, following your little agenda. It's just like, oh, hot girl? Of course I want to touch her, okay? If you have a hot fucking model in front of you, say she's like naked, she's like, look, you can touch me. Are you not gonna want to touch her? You can be like, oh, no, thanks, I'm good. You can be like, fuck yeah, like touching her all over, because it's like, that expression of your masculinity. Okay, that is the only reason. Okay, you're not being physical to accomplish anything. You're being physical because you want to. Okay, now coming from that frame of mind, yes, it is going to accomplish a lot of things. Okay, it is going to accomplish man to woman. Okay, as we discussed before, laser eye contact, break and report tonality, physicality. Okay, if it's a little friend of hers or some guy who's trying to be a little orbiter, he's not going to necessarily be that physical, but you can't be thinking that, okay? If you are, she's just gonna sense it's not genuine, it's not gonna be very flowing, it's gonna be very calculated, and she's gonna sense that there is an outcome in mind, okay? So why be physical? Because you want to. Now, when should you be physical? Basically, from the very start of the interaction, okay? Why? Why not? Okay, if there's a hot girl, again, that naked model in front of you, she's like, look, you can touch me. I can be like, oh, really? You know what? Wait. Let me wait 5 minutes before touching you. No, you're just gonna jump on it right there. You're like, oh, fuck yeah, I wanna touch you. Okay, and you're just gonna go for it then and there. So from the very start, from the moment you just walk up to the girl, you're just gonna be physical because that's just who you are, okay? It also sets the frame of the interaction. Remember, the longer you wait, the more awkward it's going to be. If I walk up to a girl and I have my hands in my pocket and I start talking, and then 20 minutes in, I'm like, time to be physical. And I'm like that on her shoulder, she's gonna fucking freak out. She'll be like, whoa, that wasn't part of the fucking deal. So it's like from the start, okay? Now, if you go in and you start talking to a girl, and again, you have your hands in your pocket, and then you're like 20 minutes in, oh shit, I'm not physical, I didn't set the frame from the start, don't freak out, okay? Like an easy way to kind of transition out of that is just hugging the girl. Okay, that's kind of like my go-to if that ever happens to me. I'll just be talking to her, I'm like, man, I should be a little bit more physical, but I don't want to transition out of this, frame too abruptly. So I'll just be like, you know what? Are you from, wherever she's from? Here I'm recording this in Los Angeles, so I could be like, oh, are you from LA? And she's like, yeah. Awesome, I love you. Hug. Are you from LA? No. Thank God. Hug. Okay, just any dumb little reason to hug her. What's cool with the hug is that it's very friendly. Like people just like hug each other all the time, but at the same time, your bodies are basically against each other, and it's kind of like, it's like a very neutral way of being very physical. After the hug, like touching her shoulder, shaking her hand, pushing her back and forth, it's not that extreme in comparison. So that's like an easy way to kind of grease your way out of that frame if you haven't established it from the start. But as a general rule, off the bat, okay, from the moment you say hi, try to make it like a reflex or habit, if you will, of shaking every girl's hand. Okay, it's pretty rare that I talk to a girl or open a girl without shaking her hand. You know, like the best way of opening, and this is my most common way, is I just walk up, tap, I just tap her on the shoulder. Hey, what's up? And I just put my hand out. Okay, and I just shake her hand. As simple as that. It just like, whew, establish the frame from the start. We are now physical. It's not like, hey, what's up? It's like, hey, okay? Now when you shake her hand as well, try to do like a 90-degree angle. Don't just like reach in her face. Don't try to grab her hand. Just like, hey. And you kind of like wait for her to, you know, grab your hand and also invest a bit in the interaction, okay? But when should you be physical? From the very start. Why fucking wait? Now, another important concept when it comes to physicality is that verbal game and physical game operate on simultaneous yet separate wavelengths. Now, what does this mean? Okay, basically in an interaction, there's the verbal wavelength, you know, which are like the words that you're saying, you talking to the girl, you know, like talking, you know, like all throughout the interaction. And there is the physical wavelength, you know, which is you basically touching the girl and being physical. Okay, like touching all throughout the interaction. Now, the mistake that a lot of guys make is that they think that it's either or. You know, it's like you're either talking, physical, talking, physical, which is wrong. Okay, what does that look like? You go up to the girl, you're like, hey, what's up? I'm Julian. Oh, cool, your name's Sarah? That's really cool. Anyway, where are you from? Oh, you live in LA? I like that. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Okay, talking or physical. Wrong. The other mistake is that they think that it's, you know, like intertwined. You know, it's like I'm talking and being physical and it's just one wavelength. Okay, and what does that look like? Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Julian. How's it going? What's your name? Oh, Sarah, that's awesome. You know what? Look, I'm touching your shoulder right now. Do you like it when I'm touching your shoulder? I'm hugging you right now. Look, I'm taking your hand. Look, we're being physical. So are you from LA? Look, we're being physical again. Okay, so it's basically talking about being physical. That there is wrong as well. What is the right way of doing it? Basically, again, simultaneous yet separate wavelengths, okay? You don't have to be talking about being physical and you don't have to be quiet when you're physical. And what does that look like? Basically, hey, what's up? I'm Julian. What's your name? Oh, cool, Sarah. That's a really cool name. Are you from like LA? Oh, I love that. You know, in like politics. Yeah, I love politics and everything about politics. Okay, so you don't have to acknowledge the fact you're basically being physical. Okay, now of course you can if you want to. Don't take this like, oh my God, I can never talk about being physical. But as a general rule, just keep talking. That's like one wavelength, and then the physical is another wavelength that happen simultaneously. Now, when being physical, don't forget what your intentions are. Okay, like why are you there? You're there to get the girl. Okay, you're not there to succeed, for example, your physical move or succeed at being physical. Okay, and I see this every once in a while where I'm like, you know what? Go and like shake the girl's hand. Okay, and the client will like walk up to a girl like, hey, what's up? How's it going? And he puts his hand out and the girl just looks at him. She's like, and he's like, shake it. Yeah, shake the hand. Shake the hand. And he's like obsessed with, again, accomplishing the shake my hand physical move, if you will. Okay, or if you're trying to like spin the girl, it's like, spin. And if she doesn't spin, they just freak out. They think that they're rejected. It's like, oh, I fucked up. And they just like walk off and they lose track again of the bigger picture. Okay, basically view it like this. Can you know, pull a girl or fuck a girl or make her your girlfriend, if you will, without shaking her hand in the initial interaction? The answer is yes. Can you pull, fuck, or make her your girlfriend while shaking her hand in the initial interaction? The answer is also yes. So ultimately, shaking her hand is irrelevant. And this applies for all forms of physicality. Okay, you don't need to accomplish whatever move you set out to do. You know, if you're going for the kiss even, you know, I hear this, like, you have to kiss the girl before you bring her home, or if you know, before you sleep with her, you have to kiss her, and the answer is no. Okay, like a lot of girls, funny enough, won't kiss you in the initial interaction. They will kiss you when they're isolated. You know, there's like not that, you know, pressure of like maybe your friends like judging her and like, oh, what a slut for kissing that guy. But a lot actually won't in the initial interaction, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, again, kissing the girl is a form of physical expression. It's not to accomplish anything. It's not like a stepping stone towards sex. Okay, the way I view a kiss is like a high five. When guys are like, but you didn't kiss her. It's like, oh, okay, do I have to kiss her? Do I have to high five her to fuck her? Fuck no, okay? The kiss is irrelevant. You're not there to shake her hand, you're not there to spin her, you're not there to kiss her, you are there to fuck her, okay? Focus on the bigger picture, and remember as well that to be man to woman, okay, to be, again, that sexual threat where she's like, oh shit, here's a guy who's gonna fuck me, you know, like, oh my God, here is that guy, you don't need to be physical either, okay? It's on these sub-communications, okay? Now, of course, it amplifies it by being physical, but you don't have to. So if you don't get the kiss, as long as it's man to woman, good enough. One last thing, if you do go for the kiss, is just make sure you don't become like the makeout guy. Okay, and I see this a lot as well. Guys go in, they get the kiss, and then they're like, oh shit, I got the kiss. Make out, make out, make out, make out, make out, make out, and they just keep on making out for hours on end. Okay, that is bad. Do not do that. Okay, basically, first of all, if you're just like making out, making out, making out, making out, you're not moving on towards sex, okay? You just are stuck on the makeout. Secondly, you're giving the girl all the validation she needs. You know, it just becomes very boring. It's like you make out for 6 hours, and then you're like, look, let's go fuck. She's like, I'm all good. I had enough with the makeout. You know, it's like if you bring a girl home and you like fucking finger her for hours on end, and then you wanna fuck her, she's like, look, I already came. I don't want to fuck you now. So don't become like that guy who's just like sitting in the corner, just like needing the makeout, okay? A makeout, again, form of expression. If I kiss a girl, I'll kiss her for a little bit and then I'll move back and I'll just keep the interaction going, okay? I'm not attached to that validation, and I don't think that that is the end of the road, okay? Sex is the end, it's not the little kiss, okay? So if you do kiss her a little bit and usually be like the first to pull off. Now with being man to woman as well, never feel like you need to justify your intentions or justify, you know, being physical. Okay, as we discussed with opening, it's like you walk up, you're like, yup, this is me, okay? Yup, I'm a guy who's physical. It's not like, oh, there's something there on your shoulder. So you can like touch her shoulder. Or, oh, palm reading, do you like that? Touching her hand, you don't need to do that. It's like, yup, I'm touching you because I'm a guy, you're a girl, this is what's up, deal with it, get used to it, okay? Don't justify it, and also don't feel the need to build up to being physical, okay? Like I'll see this as well. If I'm with a client, I'll come up, I'm like, listen, grab her head right now and fucking kiss her. And the guy's like, give me 5 minutes, give me 5 minutes. I'm like, no, do it now, okay? Remember, girls live in the emotion of the moment. You don't need to like build it up. It's like, do it, and then like usually, again, maybe logically it won't make sense because you could be talking about politics and make out, but she's looking at the emotional roller coaster, and she'll usually go along with it. Now, it is possible that by doing that, you do go over the top, okay? And this is another important point, is like never be afraid of that. Remember the 3 steps if you do. Step back, statement of empathy, quickly change the topic, you know, wash, rinse, repeat, and ultimately just kind of like practice calibrating after the fact, you know, practice getting away with it, because that's what's gonna give you the confidence of just, you know, putting yourself out there, not feeling so stifled, okay? And ultimately too, like say you go in for a kiss, you're like, bang, and she's like, whoa, no. And you take that step back, you're like, listen, I was just fucking around. Anyway, are you from LA? And she sees you're just unfazed and that you're not all sad about it, you know, like, oh, but I wanted the kiss, you know, attached to that outcome. It's like, oh, bigger picture, and you just keep on going. What does it communicate to the girl? She's like, oh shit, like, first of all, this guy's not attached to any outcome. He's not needing any validation. He's not needing the kiss. He wants it, but he doesn't need it. It didn't affect him when I just, you know, refused to kiss him. And secondly, because you went in with such certainty, okay, because again, you know how to calibrate after, it communicates that you probably had a lot of success doing that in the past with other girls, which kind of amps up like your social proof. She's like, oh shit, if other girls like this guy, I should probably like him too. Okay, so don't justify being physical, don't build up to it. You do it, this is who you are. Now as a training wheel, I'm gonna give you 6 physical moves, okay? Basically 6 moves you can go out and just kind of like practice and play around with to internalize everything that we covered in this segment here. Because it's pretty common, especially on program, that I go up to a client and I'm like, be physical. And what's the reflex? Shoulder touch. You know, they just don't know how. Okay, now these moves here, you don't have to rely on them all the time. Okay, what's the best form of physicality? Whatever you feel like doing, okay, like that form of expression. But if you're not used to being physical, kind of play around with these right here. Okay, now you can execute them in the order that I give them to you now, or just kind of like mix and match, you know, and just kind of experiment around. Okay, you want to start developing that feel of like what the right amount of physicality is, what is too much, what isn't enough, how to make it work, how to talk while being physical. So this here is your basic training wheels. So the first move is the spin handshake. Okay, this is the old school classic pickup move. Okay, you can probably actually recognize who knows about this whole, little pickup getting women world by who's spinning girls. If you go in a venue and you see a lot of guys just like spinning all these girls, you're like, they're in on it. But it is a great move nonetheless. Okay, basically you go up to the girl and remember, tap, tap, handshake. And then what you do is you just spin the girl. Okay, and you do that by moving your arm to the right. Okay, don't go to the left, to the right. It's just an easy way to spice it up. Instead of the regular handshake, you'll always see her kind of like giggle, like, oh my God. And then you just keep on talking. Remember as well, you don't just spin her and just be quiet, like, do you like it? It's like you spin, form of expression, and you keep on going. Okay, we call that the spin handshake. That's number one. The second one is the hand clasp. Now what is that? It's basically when your hand and her hand intertwine. Okay, you can do this while you're talking. You just grab her hands, bring them up, intertwine. Okay, then you can like pull her in, push her out, bring the hands down, bring them up, all the while talking. Okay, you're not just quiet, like that. Now you can just grab her hands when you do this, or a smoother way of doing it is kind of like sliding down her arm here. Like if her hands are out, you just slide down, bring her hands up, and grab them. Okay, bang. Okay, that is what you call the hand clasp. So you could actually just stack this up and go up to a girl like, hey, what's up? Oh, nice to meet you. Cool, you know what, give me your hands. Anyway, what's your name? Okay, and you kind of play along with it that way. The third move is the spin hug. Okay, that's basically when you hug the girl. Okay, you put your arms around her waist here, you pick her up a little bit, spin her, set her down. Now you don't need to do a 180 or a 360. Don't worry, just get her in the air a little bit and set her down. If she's light, you can pick her up right here. If she's heavier, put your arms beneath her ass, keep your back straight when doing it, and ultimately that'll like really spice things up. Like it'll be girls like, oh my God, and like just giggling. It's the shit, okay? The spin hug. Number 4 is the waltz dance. Okay, where basically you're talking to a girl and you're like, you know what? One hand on the waist, take her arm, and just start waltz dancing it as you're talking. You can get in very close and just whisper in her ear. And you don't need to go like really fast. Like if the music's like, you don't need to be like, okay, like make it more like just romantic and slow. You can do this on the street as well. Like I actually love doing this. If a girl's like walking down the street, boom, high five, transition into the waltz dance and starts dancing with her. So that's number 4. Number 5 is the neck bite. Okay, so that's when you're basically just talking to her and you just go in for the neck. Okay, now when I say bite, I don't mean rip her artery out. Okay, just give her like a strong kiss with maybe like a little teeth. And this is also a great move if you're going in for the kiss and she turns her head, go in for the neck bite. Okay, and lastly, number 6, this is what I call the eyes closed kiss. Okay, so 3 words, eyes closed kiss, where you basically just tell her, close your eyes, close your eyes. Usually girls will be like, what, why? And you're like, no, just trust me, just 1 second. I just want to show you something. Close your eyes real fast. She closes her eyes, bang, you go for the kiss. Now, oftentimes there, girls will just like laugh, like, oh my God, and just giggle. Okay, you're not gonna get the full make out, but that's fine. Okay, again, it's just like a little poke, a little push, a playful physical move. Okay, and you can just really stack these. Spin handshake, hand clasp, boom, spin hug, waltz dance, neck bite, close your eyes, kiss. Okay, so play around with these right here, come up with your own, and what you'll notice too, funny enough with these moves here, is that following, again, the tempo of the night and the girl's body temperature, you'll probably get away with more of the first 4 moves in the first half of the night, and then get away with more of like the neck bite and the eyes closed kiss in the second half when her download bar is higher. Okay, but don't be afraid of using it in the first half either, because if you do go too far, practice the 3 steps. The last thing that I would say in terms of being physical and the way that it should look, in an interaction, is not so much like agenda-based. Okay, like when you hear all this theory, don't be like, okay, I'm just gonna go up and I'm gonna be physical and I'm going to escalate. Okay, there's a lot of fixation on this escalation where you just go up and you shake her hand first, then you touch her arm, then you hug her, then you bite her neck, then you kiss her, then you finger her, then you fuck her. Okay, and you kind of like baby step it that way. And I don't really like coming from that frame of mind there. Okay, yes, you do escalate, but usually time kind of does the work for you. But don't worry so much about, I'm doing this, and then what's next, and what's next, and what's next. Because again, that's like very agenda-based, and it doesn't really mesh with the girl's reality, especially when she's out, when again, she just wants to have fun and, relax. So the way that I view it, and this is the best kind of description of what physicality looks like, is that you go up to the girl, you start talking, you're doing your thing, you boom, set the rhythm, you get her to react to you, and it's kind of like these little bursts. It's like, oh, cool, that's really fun. Bang, like a little touch. Oh, cool, a hug. Oh, a spin, okay? Oh, pff, a neck bite. But it's always kind of like back and forth, okay? Like the interaction can breathe. I'm not like neck bite, kiss, finger, da-da-da, okay? It's like, no, it's like back, forth, pressure on, pressure off, okay? And also there's no like needing to escalate. You don't need, again, to be physical. You don't need to get to the neck bite or the kiss, okay? It's like you just doing in whatever order you want to do. You can go for the neck bite, then you can shake her hand. It doesn't matter, as long as you're leading. But it's kind of like, just me doing my thing, bursts, 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 bursts. And of course, you have to be acting through the 4 pillars. Like when you're being physical, it's purposeful. It's also controlled, like way too fast and creeping girls out. It's nice and flowing, just very comfortable, very, positively assumed, and you're not trying to accomplish anything. You're self-amused. You're not attached to any outcome. Your actions pump you up.
Come, leave your friends. They won't leave without you. Trust me. Don't embarrass me though, okay?
How would I embarrass you?
You know that movie Twilight?
Yeah.
I think it's like us.
And don't forget the important role that eye contact plays in this as well. When you're being physical, if you have that nice, steady, kind of like soothing stare, you'll get away with a lot more. Okay, when I'm being physical, I'm not like looking away. I'm kind of like, it's okay. I'm on top of my shit. I know what I'm doing. Hey, it's okay. Okay, like just very relaxed, calm, and steady as you're being a little bit more aggressive physically.